I'm so confused. And now we're back. When we returned to Shinsengumi headquarters, Sinan had a number of words for us. They weren't particularly pleasant. We had been kneeling for some time as the colonel berated us before Okita finally spoke up. You don't need to lose your head over it, Sinan. After all, we arrested a couple of Choshu people. When the fight was over, we discovered a massive arms cache and confiscated the entire thing. No one had bothered to explain to me what was happening, however, and I was utterly lost. We couldn't have explained this while we were here. Okie dokie. Okita. Not something to lose my head over. My head is right where it belongs, Okita. Perhaps you should inquire after yours. The man claiming to be the Masu Keimon. The man claiming to be Masu Kiemon was in truth Shuntaro Furutaka, a Choshu spy. Encyclopedia was doubly updated. I assume you were aware that the Shinsengumi was allowing him to operate in the hope of acquiring enemy intelligence? Yeah, I was. We didn't have a choice this time. I had to bring him in. His excuse was weak, and his petulant frown suggested he knew it. Well, it's not like it's a total bust. Like Soji said, they did arrest some guys. Yeah, but don't you feel bad for Shimada and Yamazaki? They were staking out the place to keep an eye on Furutaka. Corners of Heisuke's mouth twitched into a momentary smile. Shimada interrupted before he could continue. So, if I followed that little bit right, there were actual, like, Shinsengumi people there, and Okita kind of blew the gun and could have gotten himself hurt, or worse. Whatever that could be, I just felt like that's the right thing to say at that moment. Or worse. Sup? Hey, Kai Shimada. We appreciate your concern, Todo, but nobody needs to lose any sleep on our account. We were getting nowhere with Masu's the last few days anyway. Okita did us a favor. Yamazaki nodded in silent agreement. Furutaka's arrest is over and done. You won't hear any complaints from us about it. Man, you two are the definition of stoic and reasonable. Soji, on the other hand, didn't look like the Nagakura were going to let Okita get away without thoroughly rubbing his face in his mistake. At last, I felt like I could remain quiet no longer. Of course you did. It was my fault! Some Ronin were causing trouble, so I tried to get out of the way. I got separated from Okita in the crowd, and I didn't go right back to him. Before I really realized what was going on, there I was in front of Masu's, and someone was shouting about how I was with the Shinsengumi. But who was tasked with looking after you? He glared at me, his eyes hard and angry, and I felt my throat dry up. That wasn't all that was hard and angry. Wink! The captain of our 1st Division can't keep track of a single charge? Is this the best the Shinsengumi can do? When I first met him, Sinan had been nice, if a little quiet after his injury, however. Yeah, he's the guy that got injured. I mean, I knew he was the guy that got injured, but seeing him here and not talking about it, it was as if he'd become an entirely different man. I told her she could go. They were only following orders. Sinan looked up as Hijikata walked into the room. He gave the commander a tight wry smile, but got only a peaceful, impartial glance in return. If you're here, that means you're done interrogating Furutaka, right? Hijikata didn't so much as blink. They're going to wait for a day when the wind picks up, then set Kyoto on fire and kidnap the Emperor while everyone else is losing their shit. So they say, at least. His voice was calm and measured, but we all felt the import of his words. Burn down the city, is what he said. I'm making sure I didn't, misread that. It's kind of a big deal. Those Choshu guys are crazier than I thought. He followed his comment with a rude gesture that made me blush involuntarily. So they just want to kidnap the Emperor. Seems a little contradictory for a bunch of guys who call themselves imperialists. Whatever their reasons, we can hardly ignore their plans. They're probably meeting tonight. We need to get ready to move out. Understood, Commander. Alright, finally! I'm getting chills! They didn't all display the same level of professionalism, but each man there made it clear that he was prepared. As they quieted down, Hijikata turned toward me as if he had only just noticed my presence. We did get some information on Kodo. Apparently he visited Masu's with some men from Choshu. What? He was with the Choshu? But my father was loyal to the Shogunate. That was why the Shinsengumi had agreed to help me look for him. But the Choshu are at odds with the Shogun. Why would my father be with them? Nobody answered. Nobody cares. Just you think on it yourself, okay? Just think on it yourself. Preparations! The tension was thick enough to cut with a dull knife, and I found it affecting me despite my best efforts. My encounter at Masu's had created new problems for them, and I hoped I might be able to help out to make up for it. But how was I supposed to help prepare for a raid? There was nothing for me to do but sit in my room. Though I felt terrible and useless for doing it, still I told myself best to avoid getting in anyone's way. As I sat there doing my best to think of something, anything else, I heard voices nearby. We don't have enough men. Kondo has only 10 soldiers ready to fight. Hijikata and I have 24 apiece, right? Man, half our guys out there with stomach aches. Not exactly a laughing matter, eh, Saito? I didn't seem to be keeping Harada from laughing, though. If I was correct. Kondo would be taking his men to the Ikeda Inn, and Hijikata would be taking his to the Shikoku Inn. So, you think will we bring them along on this one? It's a night mission, be perfect. Them? We lost a couple the other day, but there should still be a few left, right? I heard they won't be seeing combat for a while. They're having difficulty adjusting. They stop listening to orders as soon as they see blood. It's inconvenient. What? I swore I heard something about a reaction to blood before. No, this was something I wasn't supposed to hear. Did they not realize I was there? If they didn't, I could hardly announce my presence after what I'd heard. They've got to be spinning their graves. Didn't they choose to do this so they could fight? Sano, you only say that after someone's actually dead. Yeah, I guess you're right. They aren't really dead, are they? I mean, in fact, they're even harder to kill now. We've employed zombies. Zombie vampires. With swords. There was no doubt that what I was hearing was not meant for me, or for this world. My virgin ears! Oh my! I shoved my fingers into my ears and closed my eyes tight. The best I could do was make sure I didn't hear anything more. Oh, what are you doing here, Yukimura? Nothing. Pulls fingers out of ears and opens eyes. Hi, Kondo. How's it going? I was stretching. Practicing my deep breathing. I couldn't just sit there. I told him the truth about how I'd felt so useless and left my room to find some way to help. Ah, of course, I see. I know how you feel. Men are pretty excited, aren't they? Yeah. Excited, I would have said bloodthirsty. Would you care to join us? What? That was not what I'd expected him to say. You mean go on a raid with you? I don't know what I could... Well, we could certainly use a messenger, but if you'd rather not, there's no need to feel obligated. Of course, the chief was only taking 10 soldiers. Well, alright, if I'll just be a messenger. His face split into a grin, and that was how I found myself on the way to the Ikeda Inn to accompany the Shinsengumi on their raid. I wonder if that was a split-off point, if we could actually be going to the other inn. Hour of the Dog. After we arrived at Ikeda, I was sent off on several short errands nearby. I returned to hear Nagakura talking to Okita. Well, looks like we hit the jackpot on this one. Not sure if they're brave or stupid for meeting right next to a government building. I knew they'd be here. After all, they've always met at Ikeda before. Sure, but the night Furutaka gets arrested? That just seems sloppy to me. I mean, why not meet somewhere else? Any normal person would worry someone was onto them. Well, obviously, they're somewhat less than normal after all. They are meeting at the Ikeda Inn, aren't they? But for the subject matter, it could have been any conversation between Nagakura and Okita. Perhaps the Choshu were trying to trick the Shinsengumi. I certainly wouldn't have known, because I don't seem to know anything, or even really try. Whatever the reason for the behavior, however, it didn't seem to have Nagakura or Okita particularly worried. Heisuke noticed me as I approached and jogged over. Hey guys, what's going on? How'd it go? Anyone see anyone from Eizu or Judiciary Commissioner? Wow, to be honest, I didn't see much of anyone nearby. Chizuru, just try a little harder. You can do better, I know you can. He frowned and grunted unhappily to himself. So they still haven't made their move. We told them even before it started to get dark. Settle down, Heisuke! The larger man smacked Heisuke playfully on the shoulder with a bark of laughter. Besides, it's not like they'd do us any good if they did show up. If this is gonna happen, we gotta do it ourselves. Yeah, I guess, it's just, don't you think all running all on our own is a little reckless? It sort of made sense to someone because we decided to wait for reinforcements. Good call, good call. We waited for quite some time, but they never appeared. Hour of the boar. I looked up at the sky. Like a bad version of 24. In this episode of 24. Well, nothing happened. We went to the bathroom and stuff. Does Jack Bauer ever go to the bathroom? Sorry, now's not the time for this. The moon had moved a good part of its way across the sky since we'd arrived at Ikeda Inn. Damn it, it's getting pretty late. What do you want to do, Kondo? It'd be pretty lame if we just sat here all night and did nothing. The chief had been quiet for the last several hours, but when Okita spoke, he stood up, laid his hand on my shoulder. Yukimura, can you stay away from the Ikeda Inn? Things are gonna get dangerous. The place is full of rebel soldiers. We don't intend to allow them to escape, but, better safe than sorry. Then he stood up, gave me a smile, and ran into the inn. Look at him go! Whee! We are the Shinsengumi, retainers of the Lieutenant General of the Aizu Domain. By imperial decree, you are all under arrest. The words were scarcely out of his mouth when a cacophony of yells and screams erupted out of the inn, giving the enemy a good loud warning that he's about to kick the tar out of them. That's Kondo for you. Okita gave a bark of laughter as he made his own way toward the inn. Seems like good form anyway. It's polite to let them know what they're up against. Oh, so your definition of good form is putting us at a disadvantage? Heisuke and Nagakura grinned at one another as they too sauntered toward the inn. We act with the authority of the government. Resist and you will be shown no mercy. It's a good battle song. Kind of get everyone riled up. Then the battle began in earnest. The yells of men and the clang of swords filled the air, rolling out through the doors and windows of the inn. I could hear feet pound up the stairs, then screams of men dying, the wet thud of bodies dropping to the floor. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Damn it, there's too many of them. We need backup. Is there anyone still out there? Well, there's me. I'm here. All the men who came with the captains had run around to go in the back, and couldn't hear Nagakura, even if they could have. I heard sounds of battle coming from the back of the inn as well. What should I do? I could go yell at the guys in the back, or I could just run in myself. The only person left to go help them was me, but even if I did, what could I do? That was when I heard Kondo. Soji, are you alright? Then Nagakura called out from a different part of the inn. Damn it, Heisuke! Don't die on me! Oh no! I had no desire to go into the building full of men trying their best to kill one another. Even if I did, I had no illusions about my skill with a blade. I was sure to be killed even before I'd drawn it. But I could hardly sit by and do nothing. Perhaps if I couldn't fight, I could rescue the wounded, find them and carry them out of the inn. My mind made up. I steeled myself and ran inside. Inside it was pitch black. The smell of fresh blood hit me in the stomach like a fist. The air reeked of it. There were dark lumps on the floor everywhere, the bodies of fallen men. The times when she decides to be descriptive and the times when she doesn't are just so kind of normal. Oh, we gotta get really intense now. It's an action scene. Let's describe everything thoroughly and have it be super different. And then when nothing is happening, it's like, let's describe the same thing 4 times. I don't know why. This needs to happen.